with an opening statement from interim GM Lin Dunn. And then we'll go to questions in the room and on Zoom when needed. So Lin, would you please?
Yeah, let me get my water bottle going here. First of all, I want to thank you guys for showing up here in person, and for the people that are virtually with us. Thank you. We've come to the end of a season that showed an enormous amount of improvement. It may not have shown in the record, but we honestly have seen improvement. We've done some things that we needed to do that were difficult, in my opinion, to place this franchise in a position to move forward at this time next year to be significantly better. We are very happy with the progress of our 7 rookies. The first 5 in particular have shown enormous progress, enormous potential. So we really feel like we made some good decisions with those selections. I think with having 44% chance of getting the first pick in the draft, we're optimistic about what that draft pick will have, the impact that draft pick will have on this team. Not to mention another high first-round pick that will be added to our team by this time next year. And then, to be honest with you, we will look into free agency strongly to hopefully bring at least 2 veteran, not only great players, but great people into this franchise. So we're optimistic about the future. Are we disappointed we didn't win more games? Absolutely. I'm never going to be happy with being last or only winning 5 games. So we have to focus on the things that we've done well. We have to focus on the positive things that we've done to improve. And every day, starting today, exit interviews started today. Today is the first day of the 2023 season and preparation and all the work that's going to go into putting us in a position this time next year to be one of those teams that is fighting for a playoff spot, just like those 4 teams that fought to the bitter end. We want to be in that mix when, in all honesty, I want to be in the playoffs. But I know the next steps that we need to take. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lin. We'll go to questions in the room, and then if anybody has questions on Zoom, can raise your hand and we'll get to everybody as well. We'll start in the room though. Guys, whoever wants to start, take it away.
Let me say one other thing. I want to thank our fans for following us around to 3 different locations. I don't want to ever forget how challenging that has been for 3 years now as we renovated this fantastic arena, this Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and now it's finally going to be finished, and we're going to be at home, and we're going to be at home for every game. But to you fans who followed us religiously, consistently for 3 years, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Lin. In the room, Tony, you want to start?
Yeah, Lin, you mentioned the improvement goal that you guys set before the season. You also talked about being disappointed with 5 wins. How do you what steps did you see for the improvement specifically that you really liked from your team this season?
Well, improvement is an interesting word. There are lots of ways statistically that you can improve. You can look at the stats from last year and you can compare them with the stats this year, and you can see objective improvement. But you can also see it on the court, with the competitive spirit, with the energy, with the effort. And so I'm seeing both objective and subjective areas of improvement, because I was able to watch the team quite a bit last year, and I watched them during the Olympic break, the practices. So the energy, the effort, and the statistical categories that I see matter to me. I see improvement, but I haven't seen enough improvement. I want to see more improvement. We still need to score more points. We still need to defend better. And so don't think that I'm satisfied with some improvement. I want more improvement.
You still have an interim tag on your job title. What is your future?
What is the definition of interim? Is it interim or intern or interim? I think it might mean temporary, but temporary could be forever in some instances. That's a great question. I agreed to do this for 2 years. I also provided Pacer Sports and Entertainment with a 3-year plan if after 2 years we're on track to accomplish what we want to, would I be willing to stay on for a 3rd year or 4th year or whatever they need me to do? My job is to bring stability to this franchise. And it might take me a year, it might take me 2 years, it might take me 3, or they may say, we've had enough of you. That's up to them. But I have a plan to do what needs to be done. So I don't worry about that tag.
Similarly, Carlos Knox has the same tag. I know when you hired him and brought in Gary, you talked about, defensive growth being an emphasis for those two in player development. How do you feel about the job he did, and do you think he could be back to good for you guys this year?
Well, I'm in the process of evaluating Carlos and the entire coaching staff. I want to make sure that I'm thorough. I want to make sure that I've done all of my research, not just from my perspective. That's why exit interviews are so important. Players, support staff, everyone involved in this program before I before I make a decision about our future. And to be honest with you, I'm still in the decision-making process.
Wilson, Zion.
You mentioned just the progress and everything you saw from those 5 rookies you drafted. Did anything from them kind of surprise you as the season went along?
Surprised me. I think the first thing that came into my mind when you said that, what surprised me is they didn't back down to anybody. I like to see Queen Egbo battle with Sylvia Fowles. I mean, Sylvia Fowles is a 3 or 4 time Olympian. So their approach of we're not backing down, nor are we intimidated by anybody, was refreshing. I thought they would be a little intimidated. And so that was a surprise. I thought their high energy and effort, even after we were not playing for a playoff spot, was impressive. I went to the practices after that happened, and they were just as spirited. They were just as intense. I don't know if that's youth. I don't know if that's the leadership. So that was surprising because it's hard to do that. So the only other surprising thing, what might have been seeing the growth of Henny, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, seeing her grow as a point guard probably faster than I expected. That's a tough spot to play. The point guard position is the most difficult position on the floor, but then try doing it as a rookie. So I think I'm surprised at her progress and how she was playing by the end of the season. That's what I think of off the top of my head.
Obviously, there's a lot of parts that need to get better for you guys to get back to that playoff level. Is there a specific thing you're looking at with those young players that you want to see get better as we head into next year? Well,
I want them to get stronger, physically stronger. One of the adjustments from college to pro is the physicality of the league. That's in any league. You're just not as strong because you haven't been in the weight room. A 21-year-old's not going to be as strong as a 29-year-old. So they've got to get physically stronger. I thought they did a pretty good job adapting to the speed of the game. They've got to continue to grow their skills. Every one of those rookies has an area that they know they're weak in. If it's their offhand, if it's their low post move, if you're a post player, if it's their passing, if it's their ball handling. And so they've got to take a specific area and say, this will be better next year. And that has to happen in the offseason.
You got those 2 rookies you signed mid-season, Khayla Pointer and Rennia Davis, so 1-year deals. What are your plans for them?
My plans are for them to get better in the offseason too. Khayla is a kind of what I want to call a journey woman in that she played for 2 different great coaches at LSU, and Kim Mulkey and Nikki Fargas, and then she was in the Las Vegas training camp, and that was a tough place to be. So she has some experiences that have value. She's quick, she's smart. So I've challenged her already to get better in the off-season. And then you've got Rennia, who's just a gifted athlete. She's long, she's athletic. She's been in the Minnesota training camp. She knows she's got to get better. She's got to get stronger. She's got to improve her ability to create her own shot, finish around the rim. And I think that's going to come from strength, but they're in our mix. I like those 2 rookies that we picked up late.
Whether it's through the draft or free agency, what do you see as the biggest thing you need to address with this team in the offseason?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can get better. We know you can get better with the draft, okay? And we'll find out in December what our lottery pick is, where we land with that, and that will give us an idea of the 3 or 4 players that we may have a chance to get. So we know we can get better in the draft. We also know there's the potential to get better with trades. We have some rookies that other teams are interested in. They've seen them play this year. I've already had a particular team reach out to me and say, I want to talk to you about some of your personnel and see if you're interested in a potential trade. Maybe they want to get younger, and maybe we want to get a little more veteran leadership. And so the potential to use one of our rookies as in a trade is very possible. The other way you get better is free agency. And free agency is an opportunity for you to look at unrestricted and restricted free agents and see if they might want to leave that team and join your team. And things that get involved in that situation are salary. You know, maybe we can offer them a better salary than they're making there. Maybe we can offer them a starting position or playing time, or just an opportunity to be used in a better or different way. And so free agency will be key for us. In the past, we really haven't had enough salary cap money to go after some of the top free agents. You have to have the money to go after them. We will have some more salary cap money this year. And so we will be able to get into the, I guess you would call it the competitive race for free agents a little bit more aggressively.
Carlos talked a lot this year about how the priority was development and building for the future. That in mind, what would a successful season next year look like?
I can't speak for Carlos, but I can tell you what I think a successful season would be. You know, we win more games. We are competing for a playoff spot. If our rookies get better, if we do another good job in the draft, and if we get the 2 free agents that I have my eyes on, there's no reason why we can't be one of those teams like those 4 teams that were fighting for the playoffs. If you look at the 4 teams, the teams that were fighting for the playoffs, some of them we beat. So I personally thought we probably could have won 3 or 4 more games. And I think with improvement, offseason development, trades, drafts, free agency, there's no reason why we can't be challenging for that spot. Year 2, I expect us to challenge for a playoff spot. Year 3, in this plan, I expect us to be highly competitive, and nobody wants to play the Indiana Fever.
Got one more time.
Yeah, seems like you are pretty optimistic, or at least have high hopes for the future of this franchise. Is that almost weird to weigh in your mind after a 5-win season, or did you feel optimistic the whole way through?
Well, I knew this season would be tough. You know, it's almost like when you renovate the house, you gut the house and then you rebuild it with, brand new insides. And so I thought this season would be challenging, would be tough, we would have growing pains, not unexpected. But at the same time, we would grow, we would get better, we would improve, we would play hard, we would give our fans hope for the future. Our fans would be excited about the future. And so I think a lot of those things we've accomplished. The thing that I'm disappointed in is that we, instead of winning 5 games, that we should have won maybe 8 or 9. And then our improvement would have been a little bit further along. Could we have won 8 or 9? I think so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lynn. Mm-hmm. Appreciate your time today.
Anybody on there?
No, we're good.
It has actually been, it's been bittersweet for me, only because, number one, I'm so in love with the game of basketball, have been for so many years of my life. And, to say anything less than using the word love for the Indiana Fever franchise, it will be an understatement. So just to be the head coach of this organization, again, has always been a dream of mine. It's always been something that I highly respected. And now just to be on that platform as the head coach and lead this team, obviously the results wasn't exactly what we wanted this year, but my overall experience has been just fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better situation, better platform. And again, the results will come.
Lin was just pretty optimistic about the future of this team because of the 7 rookies having a plan, ways to improve going forward. How do you feel about how this team can be better, how much better this team can be in future seasons with so many young players?
I think the sky is the limit, to be honest. I mean, this team here is one of those teams that, you know, that we have a high level of energy and focus. A lot of our young ladies come from great programs. Obviously, they are 7 rookies, but this experience has been very, very good for us this year. I mean, we made some improvement in some big time categories. And with us being who we are as a franchise, it just feels good to go back and just kind of look at where we were opposed to where we're going, and watching our players and understanding how they feel about going forward and moving forward. It's just been great.
I know you said last Friday you were taking it game by game and hadn't really talked about your interim tag with Lin at the time. Have you guys had any conversations since then? Do you know more about what your future could be in your coaching position?
I do not yet, but I will say this because it's very true. I am honored to be sitting up here on the podium as the head coach right now. And I would really love to be back with the Indiana Fever as the full-time head coach because, again, sky's the limit. And I love these young ladies. I love the franchise. And I want to make sure that we continue to go in the right direction.
When you look at the rookie class, specifically the ones that were drafted by the Fever, I think all 5 of those players had really good months of August. What led to that to you, kind of that class finishing on a flourish like they did?
Well, I think it was consistency. With us being able to practice, with us having the opportunity to be together as a unit, to experience some of the losses, to go through adversity. And some of our huddles, some of our timeouts were, you know, just over exaggerated when it came to coming together as a unit. We want to make sure that you guys understand what we're doing. And I just feel like they came together as a unit. So that allowed us to then go into practice and work at a high level. That also, it gave our rookies the opportunity to understand the rhythm and the focus that they needed to maintain to finish the season. And I think everyone there really bought into, hey, I know it's not the results that we've wanted from a record standpoint, but we're still looking to get better and move forward in the future.
What's kind of your pitch, your main selling points for why you feel you should be making the head coach of the Fever?
Well, one of the things is obviously, again, my love and my passion for the game. My ability to relate to our players and allow them to understand exactly what it takes to play on a professional level is definitely my main source. The second thing I would say is just understanding each individual's work ethic and getting them to a place where we start to execute offensively and defensively at a high level. I know that this team will follow me. They will follow me. It's just about the experience and the understanding as we move forward, what the big picture is. And I think a lot of our players are really on board with that.
Is there a certain moment from this year you remember as kind of a high point of the season?
I think there were several, to be honest. I mean, if you want to go by wins, I think we had a great win in Minnesota together that really brought us together as a unit because we played in so many different scenarios. We were able to fight through some adversity and still come out with a win. That was big. But I mean, to be honest, it's no game that would ever match my first game in LA. Well, in Indy, but we played against LA, obviously. And, you know, that was to show the emotion and the passion behind me becoming a new leader and understanding what it meant to the young ladies and myself. I just felt so good about that. And I will never forget that. We talk about it to this day. And, you know, I wish it could have been many more, but that was definitely a high point.
With this year being more of a developmental year, do you have anything specific that you would need to see next year to say, okay, this was a successful season?
Well, yes, I do. I would love to see us just become better at, conditioning, like being conditioned for the long haul. I think, you know, when you talk about a younger team that's just coming out of college, you know, their season is different than a professional season. I mean, this was a condensed season with games back to back to back. So, you know, I tread lightly when I say conditioning, but just to be conditioned with your mind and your body to go through what a WNBA season takes. So I would love to see everybody come back with that notion, but not only that, as a team, I think our basketball IQ needs to improve as a unit. Like we have a lot of individuals that understand the game, but on the basketball WNBA professional level, they could come together and really understand how to get it done.
How does a player, like, is there anything a player can do over the offseason with that, you know, to improve that basketball IQ, understand things like that? Absolutely. If you're going over in Europe, obviously it's a faster pace, professional players, that'll be good for you to participate in a, you know, 6-7 month season. That'll be good. But if you're not, if you're just training and you're home with your trainers, you want to try to get together players that are on that level, maybe 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and just go through some of the schemes that you are experiencing during the WNBA season. And I feel like a lot of our young ladies will have the opportunity to do that.
Carlos, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Kelsey, this is the first time we've talked to you since your injury actually happened. How are you health-wise, and how long do you expect to be in the boot and unable to do basketball?
I feel okay. People like D-Rob and my team have made it an easier process to kind of like transition to. I've never really been hurt like this, so it's one of my first like real injuries. But I've been all right. Really doing everything I can off the floor to make sure I'm trying to like be my best prepared on the floor when my time comes. So I feel good. I think I'll be out for like, I'm in a cast right now, so I think I'll be out for like 2 to 3 months.
From a basketball perspective, what was challenging for you about this season, and where did you improve the most this season, do you feel like?
I think the challenging part is you see all the hard work, like, you know, that's paid off, you know, behind the scenes, like weightlifting, practice, like everything that everybody do. Like, we're trying our best to do it at a high level, and we don't see the results like kind of flourish, you know, on the court. And, you know, at that stage, it's kind of tough. I think that was the hardest part.
Remember when I talked to you before the season about the improvement word that we use every day for months? You talked about winning more games. You guys only ended up winning 2, but still it seems like a lot of people are optimistic because you have so many young players. Where do you kind of sit on that line? How much would you have liked to win this year, and how optimistic are you about the future of this roster?
I think for me, I think for most of our team, like we play to win. And so I think for me, this season is like, it wasn't planned for improvement. It wasn't planned as a foundation. It was supposed to be playing to win. So that was a little tough when, you know, you don't get those results that you set goals for. But I think because we have such a young group, I think our improvement would just be focused on, you know, constantly like building brick by brick as far as like what's needed to like play at this level. So.
You want to switch players?
You can, yeah.
D-Rob, similar question, you know, as you guys go 4 wins to have a young team. I know you want to be more of a leader this year. How do you feel about the future of this roster, and how do you feel like you guys did this season?
I think that we could have done better, obviously. I feel like we were in a lot of games, especially in the first half. Like we were in a lot of games. And third quarter was really our downfall for the majority of the season. But then sometimes we even got that together and then we would lose. Yeah. Just I think from maturity as far as like being able to like not silence people's runs, but match them or get us stuff when we needed to. And so I think if we had figured that out even a couple more times, I think we would have been in the running for the playoffs. You know, I think as the season went on, like, you know, the younger players learned personnel. They learned the physicality of the game and what it was going to take possession by possession. So I think that, you know, that you just have to continue to do that with the roster like we had. Every game, you have to worry about improving it at least a little bit. And I think that we did that. So yeah, just to see everybody, you know, go get better in the off season and come back. I think that having this year of experience will definitely help.
You played on teams that have gone on a deep playoff run. Where do you feel like this team needs to grow the most to be able to do that?
Oh, I think we need to be more disciplined. And I think there needs to be a higher level of accountability in order for us to be successful.
G-Rob, what do you feel you learned about yourself being around 7 rookies and kind of being
It's okay to laugh sometimes because the things that will come out of their mouths was hilarious. Sometimes you just couldn't hold it in. Like as serious as the moment as it was, like sometimes it's okay to laugh. But yeah, I definitely think that they brought back like a youthful side and a youthful energy to our team compared to last season for sure.
Kelsey, we talked when you broke the consecutive games played record, and you just talked about how proud you were to kind of be out there every single game. How tough was it for you mentally these last 5 games, not being able to play?
It was hard. I think for me is when you play the game and you love it for all the right reasons, it's like it kind of sucks not to be a part. And then I had to take a different role as far as leadership and be what I need to be for myself and for the team from an off-the-court standpoint. So it kind of like helped me a little bit too, because when you're on a different side of things, you know, life is a little different, and, you know, you recognize, you know, weaknesses and strengths of yourself as far as leadership compared to when you're playing and when you're not. So I think for me, I learned a lot, but it was difficult, especially that first game in Vegas. I know I felt kind of out of place. I felt uncomfortable. So it was hard to watch from like not being out there, but I also felt a different form of leadership coming from me because I still felt like I supported the same way I would if I was on the floor. So.
You talked about team needing more accountability. How do you build that? What's the process of building, I guess, that culture?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it is chemistry. You know, the vets know each other, but they're coming in looking at us like wide-eyed, like, who are you? You know, like, can we trust you yet? And stuff like that. So I think just you know, it's not even all on them, you know, like obviously as vets, like I think we could have, you know, brought them along maybe a little bit quicker. But it's an adjustment coming from college to the pros. You know, and our bigs are guarding the best players every night, you know, and so to have that adjustment. But I think just continued chemistry, continued trust, and just a passion for wanting to get better and doing it for each other.
You know, what do you see as your role in that and being one of the veterans?
Yeah, just continued to be vocal, continue to hold myself to a higher standard, which then ignites and, you know, is contagious to other people. But just continue to bring my energy, my experience, my knowledge of the game and the league and the personnel to help everybody get better.
And then just for both of you, just what are your off-season plans? I know you're both coming off injuries, but what do you guys plan for the off-season?
Rehab.
Yeah. I gotta wrap this daggone cast, man. It's driving me insane. But I think for me, it's just rehab. Make sure you find it yourself. I think for me, it's just finding a level of peace right now with the season and, you know, your career. And I think for me, it's just making sure during this off season that I'm focused on my mental just as much as the physical. So.
Along those lines, Kelsey, the injury I can tell has been tough on you, and you noted the win-loss record and the challenge of that. You also had a year where you finished 6th in the league in scoring, 12th in assists. I mean, are you able to see right now the positive of what this year was for you, even in those tough circumstances?
Honestly, Pat, it's hard for me to see it because when we built on passion of like winning, like we competitors. So me and D-Rob, when we talk about, we passionate about it. And so when you watch your work kind of like not be flourished with results like winning, it's kind of tough to see. But I've been watching a lot of basketball, and I just, you know, I'm proud of how prepared I was mentally this year. And I'm praying to God it continues. So I think that's what helped me a lot this year.
We can see it, Pat. We see it.
Yeah, one more.
Kelsey, some players have talked about how when they are out with an injury, they're able to kind of see the game differently or learn a little more about how their team plays. Did that happen to you? Did you have any?
1,000%, 10,000%. I'm telling you, man. I think it really dawned on me until Dallas game, and it really showed me how good, and how efficient we could be, on a more consistent basis. And like, I've never been so happy. Like, I'm, obviously happy, but I've never been so happy for my team when I was able to go with them in Dallas. It just made me feel proud to be able to shake things up for Dallas. Obviously they're a great team, but to be a part of that and watch our team kind of like play at a high level, like, I know it felt amazing to like be there, to support. So it's definitely different though.
Kelsey, D-Rob, appreciate your time, guys. Next two questions for Emma and Tiffany, and start in the room here.
Emma, from a personal perspective, how satisfying was it for you to be brought back, for the franchise to see value in you again, and to have the individual success that you did, especially in the last couple of weeks of the season?
It was great. I haven't been able to find a home in the league, and for Indiana to bring me back with, some of the players that were here last year as well, it feels like family. So, playing with them and being able to, show what I can do on the court, finally, like consistently, it felt good.
What did I guess it mean to you to have a pretty strong month of July and August and kind of finish your year on a high note?
Going into free agency, this is my first year being unrestricted. So just, getting that opportunity to kind of leave with my best foot forward. I'm happy and fought through all the adversity that's happened this year. So like I said, I'm glad that I can end the season just on a high note for me personally.
Questions in the room, guys?
Hello, for you, you talked about, you were happy that you found a place where you were kind of safe. Do you want to continue playing here going forward?
I feel like playing anywhere in the league is a blessing. So, if Indiana gives me another opportunity to come, of course I'll come. I'm one of those players that my story is different. So I wasn't, my first 6 years of my career, I wasn't on the WNBA team. I ended up going overseas and playing and making a name for myself that way before I even got invited to a camp. So anybody from the first team, Vegas, to all the way down to Indiana, if they give me a call, I'm always willing and ready.
Do you take pride into being a veteran leader for the younger players on this team?
Yeah, I love it. I've had my issues and I have my ups and downs, and being able to teach them and help them along their way is always a blessing in itself. So I try to, be open to anything that they have to ask, and always want to help and want them to be better.
If this is the end for you in Indiana, what will you remember most about your time here?
I think just my teammates and the bonds and relationships that I've built with a lot of players over the years and me being here. I think that's one thing about basketball. You create really great relationships that last a lifetime, and that's outside of basketball. So I'm definitely thankful for some of the people that I've met throughout this organization. And I know, I'll have lifelong friends after this.
You have a sister in me?
Always. And Dior's auntie.
You are. You are. And you better remember that when he take you to Gucci.
You've been here over a half decade. Like the stability thing for this franchise. This year, you changed stadiums a bunch, changed coaches, new GM, a bunch of rookies. Was it just a strange year for the Fever in general with all those changes?
Yeah. There's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. There's been a lot going on. That's just a tribute to the players that, put the jersey on every single day, and we just take the punches and keep them coming or keep it going. Like I said, this year has been up and down, but we just found a way to still kind of stay together as a team and just try to push through it.
How did you feel you developed as a leader this year with 7 rookies on the team?
It was difficult at times, being that it's just basically like coaching like college players again. They have to go through their own struggles and their adjustments. So I just try to tell them from what my own experiences. Everybody's experience is different. When I was a rookie, my experience is different from, what they're going through right now. So I just try to, give my little 2 cents here where I can, and just try to be a positive light for them. Along the way, just help them keep learning.
Emma, you played for Marion last year and Carlos this year. What did you think of the job Carlos Knox did as the interim head coach this year?
I felt like, he did the best that he could. It's hard to come in with a team with 7 rookies. he had 6 at the time, and then also with a record of 2-11, and then try to come in and build off of that. So I feel like he did the best that he could. I mean, it was, like you said, it was a learning period for everybody. So I feel like if he probably has the chance to come in from the beginning, it might be different. But like I said, he did the best that he could.
Playing with vets is helpful for rookies. They can see what vets do and know. But do you think for them playing all together, kind of learning at the same speed will be helpful for them going forward?
Yeah. I mean, I experienced that. My first year in college as a rookie, I came in with 9 rookies, 9 freshmen, I would say. So from that experience alone, us together, we basically went through everything together. So we definitely built together, learned together, and succeeded together. So I feel like they learned a lot from each other, and then they also seen how the veterans work and what we put into the game and how we move. So I felt that they learned from us as well.
Got a question on Zoom, Amanda Poole.
Hi, Tiffany Mitchell. My name is Amanda Poole. I'm with Watch Fox out of Columbia. I just wanted to ask, just from your viewpoint, how have you seen Destanni Henderson grow over the year from day one to obviously now that the season's over?
I mean, I think Destanni developed pretty well. Coming in as a point guard, in this league is very hard. So I think, she did as best as she could as well. Learning from D-Rob, I think, helped her. But like I said, that game experience and just trying to be out there and day in and day out, knowing that you have to be ready to play. It's probably an adjustment for her because, I mean, you're getting everybody's best shot every single day. And I mean, that's where it goes to all the rookies, just knowing to be prepared every single day. And you really don't get a break in this league. But Destanni, she's done great. And I'm excited to see her over the course of the years.
Anybody?
Or you play for this training.
I played for this team last year, and a lot of talk from you guys in camp was about improvement, from last year to this year. I know you had 7 rookies, but how do you feel like the team did under that goal of improving from last year to this year?
Honestly, I think the rookies improved a lot from, I wasn't here in training camp, but since the first day I got here to now, you can tell they've matured a lot because the game has changed a little bit. Everything's just they molded into professional athletes, and it's good to see.
Did you feel weird coming in and being a leader this year, more of a vet than you have been in past seasons?
I wouldn't say weird, no. I mean, because I'm still going to be the person I am. I lead in different ways. I don't lead by talking, I lead by example. So I feel like I did a pretty good job.
What did you think of the job Knox did coaching you guys this season?
I mean, he came in on the fly. I mean, he did what he could do. And I feel like if he probably would have started the year with us, it probably would have been different because he would have had more time under his belt with us and would have been there from the start.
And you're a rookie, and there were 6 other ones on this team. How do you feel like playing with so many all at the same time during your rookie season will help you guys in future seasons?
I feel like for us, it's just about trying to build that connection and that team bond. I feel like that's what we need on the court. And I feel like the earlier the better, honestly. I feel like this year was definitely something that we can take into consideration for next year and just realize the things that we need to work on.
Where do you think this team needs to take the biggest step forward to be better next year?
I just feel like experience. I feel like the more we play with each other, the only better we're going to get. So I feel like we can just, again, just take that into next year and just really focus on and dial into the things that we like this season and just bring it into next season.
And you ended the season on a pretty strong note. What do you think went into that? What shifted for you?
I wouldn't say necessarily anything shifted. It's just my focus, just being prepared and ready for the game. Knowing that sometimes you're gonna play bad, sometimes you're gonna play good, but when your name is called, just try to think positive and and attack the game, however you can, best way you can.
Well, what do you think is the biggest thing you learned this rookie season?
Patience. I feel like my first year in college was something similar, coming off the bench, trying to maintain my role and figure out, the position I am on the court. And I feel like this year is something that I can reflect on to that and just to remember that, stay true to myself. I'm surrounded by great people, that want the best for me. So just continue to stay positive, and be patient.
Was keeping that patience difficult ever?
I wouldn't say difficult. I feel like I got a good head on my shoulder. So, when those times do come, when I do have bad games, again, like I'm surrounded around people that, motivate me and keep me up, rather than keep me down. So, and I do a good job of that on my own as well. Makes it easier.
Got a question on Zoom, Amanda.
Hi, Destanni. This is Amanda Poole with WatchFox out of Columbia. I just wanted to ask, you bring up your college experience and especially the last year at South Carolina, coming from a team that was not used to losing at all. How did you think you grew through this season's struggles with the Fever?
I just feel like it's just maintaining your composure, whether it's a win or a loss. Just know this is just in the moment, and we're just preparing ourselves for the future. I feel like that's just how I handle it.
Anybody else? Anything in the room?
Yeah, Destiny, this being your first WNBA offseason, do you have plans? You know what you want to kind of attack, and if you have plans to go overseas or anything?
I will not be going overseas, but I am working on, my off season at the moment and just trying to figure everything out. So that's where I'm at right now.
Do you feel like that stretch you ended the season off with? Do you feel like that gave you the confidence you needed to feel good about what you can be going into next year?
It definitely gave me confidence, trying to end the season the best way I know how. I feel like for the most part, I feel like I definitely have a lot of room for improvement, of course. So, I'm just trying to, focus on that and just focus on the things that I liked in pretty much for the whole season and try to get better at those things, more importantly.
Does your business and what you're trying to achieve there weigh into your decision when it comes to the off season of the WNBA and maybe staying here?
I will be staying here more times than not in the off season. I feel like just to get extra workouts in and to work on myself on the court as well as off the court. And just try to get more familiar and being confident and relaxed in Indy. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, for both of you coming off your rookie year, what would you say is the biggest thing you learned about yourself, WNBA basketball or whatever, in your first season in the league?
Let's start.
I would probably say the biggest thing I learned is, the game is physical. It's a lot more up-paced. It's a lot more mental than college. You got to be mentally strong in the W. So I'd probably say the mental aspect was the biggest thing this year.
Yeah, I would say just every team has 12 players who are really, really good. So it's like Liz said, like coming in, being focused and playing for 40 minutes. And I think, we're so used to winning. And I think at the W, it takes a lot to win and you have to be playing for 40 minutes. So I think, that's something that I'm just going to take away is realizing that it's going to take all of us to win.
NaLyssa, I remember when Carlos got hired, you were excited to call him a genuine guy that you were excited to play for. As the season went along and you played for more, what do you think of the job he did coaching you guys this season?
He did a good job. He helped us. He's very different from Marianne. So, you got two different coaching styles that you got to play with. So I feel like he helped us along the way.
How do you feel like this team developed as the season went on? You have 7 rookies, obviously there's going to be growth every day. Where did you feel like you guys grew at the most throughout the year?
Just playing together. I feel like we got a lot more comfortable towards the end of the year. In the beginning, it was kind of like real shaky because we never played with each other. But, towards the end, we kind of figured each other out, figured out where we liked the ball, how each other plays. So I feel like we gelled well together.
Lexie, similarly with 7 rookies, how will that help you next year as you've had a whole year together to grow at the same speed?
Yeah, I think we're all really excited for next year now that we know what to expect. We know what the games are going to be like. We know more about how the 7 of us play, how the team plays. I think there's just a lot of potential there. And I think we saw it in moments in games. But I think everyone's really excited to get to work in this offseason and come back stronger.
NaLyssa, I know the wins weren't always there, but when you look at your rookie season, do you feel like you've had the type of year to kind of establish yourself for future years in the league as the star? I know you view yourself as.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel like this year was kind of like my warm-up year just to see, like, how it is to be in the W. So now I know what to expect. I know a lot of things I need to work on. So I feel like this year just introduced me to how I need to play, to be like that great player that I do want to be.
NaLyssa, you mentioned Carlos and Marianne have very different styles. Is there anything you learned or any way you think you benefited from having 2 coaches, different styles in your first year?
Oh yeah, you get to learn, like how they coach. Carlos was more like spread the floor and play. Marianne was more like playing with plays and running plays. So I feel like having two different coaches, it just helps you learn how to play with different coaches.
Was there a style you felt fit your game better?
Yeah, I'd probably say just spreading the floor and playing.
For both of you, what's the biggest aspect of your game you want to work on this offseason?
Lexie, can start.
Yeah, I think for me, coming from a program that it was more play driven and set driven, I think I really need to work on creating off the dribble and being able to be a threat in those spread out scenarios.
I'll probably just say, being more aggressive. You see how they play in the W, so you got to match their physicality, learn, like, getting better on defense, learning all the defensive schemes, and going left a lot more. I see towards the end of the year, they were sitting on my right a lot because, it's the WNBA. They see those things. So going left, learning how to go both ways.
Lexie, it felt like after that wrist injury, once you recovered from it, it felt like you came back and the flip kind of switched. What really changed for you towards the end of the season?
I think for me, just kind of being comfortable and letting, seeing the things. But when I was out, I got to watch a lot. And I think that really helped me. So just kind of being able to read the defense and know what to expect. 1, 2, 1, 2.
For both of you, what's the biggest thing you felt you learned in this rookie season?
I would say just learning how to compete hard and learning what it takes to be consistent every night and the amount of work it takes to get to where you want to be. And just seeing that has definitely changed my demeanor. It's changed my outlook on what it takes to become a professional athlete and to stay one.
Yeah, as much as you want to keep the mentality of having fun while you're playing, it's still like a business. And obviously that's the big difference between the pros and college, but also just the fast-paced game that it takes and how well you have to treat your bodies to stay in this league for a long time.
Queen, you were put into the fire day one, guarding some of the best players, not only right now, but maybe some of the best players the league has ever seen. Going forward into next season, how are you going to be looking to, kind of improve on, going against those star players?
I would say improving my conditioning so I'm able to last longer with them and just staying out of foul trouble. I feel like conditioning has a lot to do with why people foul. They get tired and lazy, and they kind of bail themselves out by doing what's easy, and that's just putting them at the foul line. And so I definitely want to be a more efficient player when it comes to staying on the floor and being productive by staying out of foul trouble.
Do either of you have offseason plans to start, like going overseas or anything?
I do. I'm going to Turkey.
Yep, going to France.
Sure. Emily, you first. Where do you feel like you and this team grew the most over the course of your rookie season?
I would say on the aspect of like building personal relationships, and just kind of getting closer in that aspect. Obviously, we have a lot in common, being the same age and just coming out of college. But on the court, I think the big difference between our rookies and the rookies on other teams is that we're going to be a step ahead when it comes to just the fact that we have this experience of playing decent minutes. And, no matter what happens next year, I really, truly think that's going to be what makes a difference for our team.
Does that make you optimistic about the future of this team and this franchise?
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of things make me optimistic about this franchise, though, whether we get new people or, keep everyone the same. I think that, there's a lot that happened this season that brought us together on and off the court. And, it's hard to just throw 10 people in who've never really played together and expect them to do some, crazy thing. I just think that we grew as people and players, and that's what's going to matter next season.
And Queen, same to you. Where do you feel like you and this team grew the most as the season went from start to finish?
I would say my game personally grew on the offensive end, having coaches who just pushed me to work hard and showed me the way. It's kind of hard sometimes as a post player to have coaches and player development coaches who actually know how to coach and train post players. Everyone is kind of a guard nowadays. And so being able to step into this franchise and have coaches who know what they're doing and how to develop players, it was a good thing for me. Obviously I understood the mechanics of defense, but I definitely feel like they helped me even more being in the right position, how to help my teammates, how to stay out of foul trouble, continuing to prove my defensive aspects like blocking shots and rebounding, they definitely help tie my game together. I'm interested to see how next year, when the end of the year comes, how I'm going to be able to say I've improved. And so it's just a grind by grind. It's just grind by grind and understanding that you can't be the same player you were the year before. And so we'll definitely optimistic for sure.
With both of you going overseas in the offseason, what would you like? What would you like to get out of that going into next year's season?
Yeah, I think that this overseas season, at first, when you come into the league, it's kind of like, you're a little nervous about it. You never, played for that long away from family, blah, blah, blah. But now as the time is actually coming close, I'm actually pretty excited to, individually break down my game and get better at specific things and maybe try out some different positions. And even though the season's long, it's more spread out. I think there's a lot more opportunity to rest your body and to build it up. I just want to take some time and do some maintenance muscularly to my body and all that kind of stuff, and diet, and just trying to be the best me. So when I come back, I can be, I can evolve more in this league and, make a better impact for my team.
Anything to add?
Her statement was so long, I forgot the question.
Ask it again.
What do you want to get out of this season in Turkey?
I feel like I want to be better at reading the game quicker. I feel like I'm okay when it comes to reading the game, but I want to be able to dissect and understand what teams are doing to us the moment it happens and not have to take a timeout or have to go back and watch film. That's honestly the top of my list. I also want to be a better offensive shooter. And so I feel like this 7 months is good for me just to continue to play basketball and stay in game shape, while also making money and building myself and my brand.
Emily, you mentioned playing different positions. You played a little three towards the end of the season. What do you think you need to do to get better at that and to make that more part of your game along with four?
I think offensively, I need to develop better left hand. Ball handling is a big aspect of being a 1-2-3 guard or small forward. But also defensively, I have to guard threes, and I'm going to be doing it hopefully for a good amount of time overseas. And, by the time I get back, I'll be able to do it in the league. Obviously, everybody's really good, but, I've been guarding 4s and 5s, and they're just not as quick as I would say a 3-player is. And just developing that lateral quickness will be good for my game.
NaLyssa and Khayla.
Not sure we've really talked to either of you much, but how was this experience for both of you, coming in mid-season, having to get adjusted to that, and then finishing out the year in Indiana?
Now I'm going to start.
Yeah, I'll start. It was cool. I got here super late, though. So I just had to just come in and just do whatever they asked me to do in a short amount of time. But it was fun. It felt good to be back on the WNBA roster, regardless of how that looked. So I was just grateful to be here.
Yeah, for me, obviously it was my first year coming out. I got waived. So like Ree said, to be just on a team is something that I definitely don't take for granted. A little tricky coming in the middle of the season, but, my teammates and the coaches were really helpful and supportive of helping me adjust. And once I kind of found out what my role was for the team, I felt pretty good.
Yeah, what are some of the challenges, adjustments of coming in the middle of the season?
It's hard enough coming in as a rookie from the beginning of the season, but as a rookie in the middle of the season on a new team, a team that's, trying to find their identity, but at the same time, want to make you a part of the future, but trying to figure out how to put you in at the right time, but don't really know how you may or may not gel with certain players in certain lineups. It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because, obviously the rookie class that came in, they were in training camp together and kind of had the first month or so, really gelling and trying to get a feel for each other. So I think us kind of coming in was kind of hard, just kind of trying to fit in and see how we go with certain players and, really trying to get with the team morale. So it's an adjustment in general, just being a rookie in this league, but really adjusting to the physicality and stuff like that is really the speed and all of that is something that you got to basically learn when you get here.
Piggybacking off that, what have you guys been able to learn about yourself in these 2 months? Being drafted, then being waived by your original team, then being picked back up again. Just what have you been able to learn about yourself and just about the league in general?
Where you start? Kicker, whoever.
It's a grind, honestly. Obviously, I think the bigger picture that I always take away from it is it's not that many spots here. So it used to be 144. Now teams are cutting their roster down to like only 11. So I think for me, I always remain steady of just being grateful, one, that I'm even on a roster. And just really just trying to be the best that I can be at whatever that is that they're asking me, like whatever my role is. I had a conversation with Coach Carlos, like, hey, what is it that you want me to do when I get in the game? Just so I'm clear, you're clear, you know, that y'all know what y'all are getting from me night in and night out. And I just try to do that to the best of my ability, whether that's performing on the court or being the best cheerleader on the bench. That's something that you have to do in this business is, you know, whatever they're asking you to do, you have to make sure you bring that every day.
Rennia, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely, gratitude is definitely a big one, but just patience. I'm more of a patient person than I initially assumed, which I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I just had to be patient throughout this whole process. Still, even when I got here, still just had to be patient with myself, with the coaches, with the team, just the whole entire process. And I'm still learning patience, but I'm definitely learning at a quick rate right now.
Both of you came in mid-season. Did that help you two grow close as teammates and friends?
We've known each other for a long time. Me and Reed used to play against each other in AAU, and we both went to SEC, Tennessee, LSU. So I was really excited when she was brought here, obviously. And, you know, we've had a chance to be around each other every single day and stuff. So it's been fun from that aspect.
Rhea, for you, coming in mid-season, being on a team with 6 other rookies, how does that help you when the team kind of has a development focus already when you come in as a rookie?
Yeah, it's complete opposite to my initial situation where I was the only rookie for 2 years over in Minnesota. And it's just, the margin for error is just very, very small when you're around a bunch of vets who know what they're doing. I think over here, we just get it. Like, I'm struggling to do something, like half of the team is struggling, or at least struggled at some points to do those same things. So I just think it's much easier, much more lighter for me. I don't have to kind of just be so tense all the time.
Was it strange your first game being against Minnesota when you got
there? Oh, it was very ironic, actually. I was a little bit upset that I didn't get to suit up, but it was cool. I had just got off the plane, so I understood.
Same question for you about playing with 6 other rookies. Did that help you be in a development situation where you can be always learning, asking questions, things like that?
Yeah, I think it made it a little bit easier. And like I actually found myself asking them later on towards the season, like, hey, did you feel like this when you first got here? Because some of my first couple of games, they had already kind of got those jitters out earlier in the year. And so I was able to kind of console on them a little bit, even though they were still rookies as well. But knowing that this is all of our first year here. And so we're all trying to adjust to the league. And we're all experiencing new things. It does give you a certain level of comfort.
Anything else, guys? Awesome. KP, Reed, appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.